Sage Wanderer here, and welcome to Coffee Talk! Today, we're going to talk about the 411 disappearances. Don't. Now, I believe most of my viewers are aware of what the 411 disappearances are. It's kind of based on a documentary. One person kind of connected the dots here and brought this to the public eye. And it's concerning a series of disturbing disappearances that seem to be occurring in national forests. Dum. This really starts in the Pacific Northwest in the National Forest of Oregon and Washington. But as the research developed in the 411 disappearances investigation, as it developed, they began to uncover hot spots all over the country where these disappearances are happening. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the numbers, where they are, because the guy that does the 411 disappearance videos, Missing 411, that when they do these videos, they cover this in detail. They give you all of the background, all of the statistics, numbers, and they really look into the disappearances themselves, but don't spend a lot of time talking about the potential of what's behind it all. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look into what is the cause. Why are all these people disappearing in national forests? Not how they're not necessarily, the disappearances, each one of them. We're not going to look at any of that. He does a great job in those videos. We're going to speculate, which is what we do on Coffee Talk. We're going to speculate as to what could be behind these mysterious disappearances. Don't. We're going to explore the possibilities of what's behind it and look at each one in this video. And so, as you can see, I got my squatching hat on. This is my backwoods squatching hat. You never see me wearing it because I ain't been squatching in a long time. Squatching is searching for Bigfoot. So we're going to start first with the Bigfoot angle. A lot of people think this is Sasquatch that's kidnapping people. But the mysterious nature of these kidnappings makes me think there's got to be more to it. If it is a Sasquatch thing, if it is a Bigfoot thing, then it means Bigfoot is not necessarily just a primate that's yet to be discovered. But Bigfoot must have secret superpowers, some kind of magical element, or they may be an interdimensional being. Don't. Bigfoot's an interdimensional being, maybe, potentially. Now, let me explain why I believe that. Because many of these disappearances, a few of them, the people turn up again. When they turn up again, they often have mental issues. They seem to be almost drugged or mentally scrambled. And many of them, if not all of them, have a complete memory loss. They don't recall anything that happened to them. Like they got the flashy thingy from Men in Black. Look into the flashy thingy. And so, if it is a Bigfoot, there's enough indicator enough information to indicate that this Bigfoot may be more than just a primate. It may be some kind of spiritual being, something of an angelic or demonic nature, or something from another dimension, or maybe Bigfoot's an alien too. Don't. Can you say Chewbacca? I can't do the Chewbacca sound. Chewbacca, hey, Star Wars and Star Trek, I believe that they were trying to tell us about the secret and unknown things. And, it was like a peek behind the veil of reality in so many ways. I often say that Star Wars was a documentary. I even wrote that line into a song. And so, is Chewbacca an alien? Does it have some kind of technology? Not Chewbacca, Bigfoot. See, it's interchangeable. Is Bigfoot some kind of magical being? Does it possess technology? Because some of these things are very much unexplainable. Many of the disappearances in the 411 missing catalog are situations where the person is tracked. Oftentimes they disappear from family outings in designated campground areas where vehicles are present, and they'll just walk away from the campground and disappear. And in many, if not all of the cases, The person seems to be walking away for a distance, like they're following something, like they're being drawn away from the camp, like they're investigating a noise or something, and their footprints, their tracks left behind, suggest that they walk on their own accord for a distance, and then in almost every case, their footprints simply disappear. Dong, dong, dong. Did they get picked up by Bigfoot, thrown over their shoulder, and carried off into the woods for whatever purpose we can't imagine? Well, that's not unheard of. In one of the oldest Bigfoot cases that was detailed in a book, a man in the early 1920s was in the squatchiest section of Northern California, in and around the area of the Patterson film where it was captured, and he was doing some road surveying for the National Survey. What is it? The U.S. Geographical Survey. And he was out there. He's often spent a lot of time by himself, sometimes days or weeks, giving them topographical information, the lay of the land, and plotting out these potential roadways that would later become roads and even highways. And his story in a nutshell goes like this. He was doing his job. He was along a creek side. He bent down to get some water into his canteen, and he was struck over the head, and he awakens being carried by a female a female Bigfoot. I'm tongue tied today. I need more coffee. Once again, the flies are driving me crazy. It's fly time in Oklahoma. But he wakes up being carried by a female Bigfoot, and she's got him locked up pretty good. He does still have his backpack attached, so he has some basic things, and even still in possession of his rifle, which is slung over his shoulder in the X configuration. So when the beast grabbed him, he didn't lose anything, and so he has all of the basic survival equipment on him. And this female Bigfoot takes him to a hidden box canyon. She takes him to a place where if you didn't know how to get in, if you didn't see the right little crevice in the rocks, you'd never find this place. And it's completely encased in a ring of stone and mountains. And it was described in the book as a little bitty valley in this rock configuration where you could walk right past and never know that there was a village of Bigfoots just on the other side of the rocks. He said this was a small community existing of several parental units and their children. And it didn't take him long to surmise that what had probably happened, go away, fly, what probably happened was that the female Bigfoot had lost a baby. And the man in question was very young. I believe he was under 20. And a man of slight build with small feet. Probably weighing in about 130 pounds. So he was female sized or teenager sized, full grown. And so he surmised that because of her internal instincts and the way that she was treating him, she must in fact be a mother without a baby, and adopted him. And I won't tell the whole story, but he stayed about 10 days. They wouldn't let him leave. They kept a guard over him. He made coffee. He cooked his own food. They would bring him food and he would cook it. They found this very interesting. But this is an instance where a Bigfoot picked somebody up and carried them off. And many of the people in the 411 missing catalog, they were teenagers or people of slight build, women. But in a few cases, they were big, burly, combat-ready, prime of their life males who had this experience. Typically, the 411 missing experience, if they find the person, they're naked. If they don't find the person, they find the people's clothes. So they either decide under some hypnotic suggestion to strip, or they're stripped by their captors. And oftentimes their bodies are never found and they just disappear. That's why it's called missing. They just go missing. But when they do find somebody, they're disoriented, they're naked, they're typically show signs of wandering in the wilderness. And so it could be a Bigfoot. It very well could be. But because of the memory loss, because of some of the emotional and mental scarring that occurs from these people who have these memory loss experiences, one must it does suggest that if it is Bigfoot, Bigfoot is more than just a big ape. Okay. So, what's another option? Well, I have heard several hypotheses that this has something to do with electromagnetic fields, that the person will fall under some kind of trance when the electromagnetic currents in their mind are altered by um, some magnetic source deep within the earth, and that these campgrounds and these areas in the Pacific Northwest and other hot spots are places of high magnetic fields coming from magnetic ore in the sub rock of the bedrock, and that this might cause people to have memory loss. It might cause them to lose sense of who they are, fall into a dream state. It might cause them to wander and even strip off their own clothes. And that these people that aren't found, the ones they don't find, are just wandering off, dying of exposure, and their bones being scattered. Um, I find that somewhat plausible. There was a expedition, I believe, in the Yukon of Canada. I don't know, it's been 40, 50 years ago. No, maybe not. I think it might have been the early 80s. So what is that? Well, that must be about 40, about 40 years ago. Gosh, I'm old. But anyway, an entire group of Russian scientists just disappeared on an expedition. And when they found them, it really looked like they just ran from something in a total panic in the night, leaving their sleeping bags, leaving their winter clothes, and running out in just their underwear to flee for something or run to something. And I think that that has been solved to my satisfaction, that that was some kind of electromagnetic field related to the aurora borealis or the northern lights. So could that be what's happening here? Could magnetic interference cause the mind to skip a beat, to become unhinged, to lose sense of reality? This might explain the behavior. This might explain the tracks. That it doesn't explain why the tracks disappear. Why are the tracks disappearing? Why do their footprints just go out into the middle of a field and stop stone cold in their tracks? No pun intended. Pun fully intended. Well, another potential cause for this might be alien abduction. Don't, don't, don't. I think the footprints disappearing could be explained by the common experience of abductees to be picked up by some kind of tractor beam and lifted into a ship. We do know that the Pacific Northwest, these areas around national forest, are also a hotbed for UFO activity. Some people say it's both. Some people say it's UFO activity combined with Sasquatches, which they claim are actually aliens, either left over from a past time, left behind by an expedition, or they are here intentionally living amongst us, and that they are in fact intelligent. If you look at my Mount St. Helens Sasquatch conspiracy video on Coffee Talk from a few years back, you'll find that the whistleblower in that case claimed that the Bigfoot were capable of speech. They had their own language, they had their own politics, they had leaders, family units, villages, and that they were just very good at camouflage, very good at living amongst us without being seen. And so, but you would have to combine the Bigfoot with the UFO angle to get the disappearing footprints, if you ask me. But one of the biggest things, too, is the missing time, the missing memory, the lack of knowledge about what happened while they were missing, the ones that they do find and recover. And it would explain the missing clothes, since there's a lot of experimentation, and they tend to do that to you in the nude, just like any doctor would. And so there's a lot of elements that make this look like it could be alien interference. This could be alien abduction causing these people to go missing. And for me, the biggest argument for it being an alien abduction would be the fact that it's the timing of it. Because these disappearances didn't always happen. You can look at them statistically and find out that it started happening in the early 80s. A few cases in the very end of the 1970s, and then a major spike in disappearances starting in the 80s, and building to the point where there's so many of them we can no longer ignore it. This must be solved. We must figure out why these people are coming up missing. And the timing of it relates to some other conspiracy theories concerning aliens. If you, if you, I'm sorry, I got flies all over the place. I got the door open and they're just swarming me. They're like, we like Sage Sweat. We want to sit on his squatching hat, get on his phone and mess up his shot. But 1978 is kind of a watershed year. If you get into the alien conspiracy and disclosure and Area 51 and backwards engineering of spacecraft and all of that, you start to see this watershed moment about 1978. And the theories or whistleblower info claims that that the aliens made a deal with the government to trade technology responsible for modern bulletproof vests, fiber optics, microchips, quantum computers, and everything right down to this cell phone machine thingamabob that definitely seems like it's alien, since I can't figure out how to work the dang thing half the time. And that they gave us technology and they traded it for humans to experiment on. And if you see a blur out, it's because I got a fly that really likes the camera. He likes to sit right on the camera. I think he wants to be a star. But yeah, you have these disappearances kicking up in 1978 across the board. Alien abduction becomes a big deal in the 80s. And we also have the missing children that used to be on the back of the milk carton, and how that the disappearances of children has gone through the roof since the early 1980s. That there was a time when us kids, when I was little, we just ran wild. We didn't have to worry about even checking in. Nobody was worried about us. Everybody looked out for kids, and every kid came home at night like they were supposed to. And if they didn't, they were in trouble because it was their doing. They weren't kidnapped. But the man that is responsible for America's Most Wanted television show lost his 10-year-old, I think, son to to abduction by a murderous pedophile who killed him and left his body in a ditch. And that really kicked off the public awareness of this and the increased activity of child abduction and missing children. And I think it's a distinct possibility that these two things are linked. If I had to guess, squatching hat aside, if I had to guess and lay a bet on what's behind 411 and all of these missing people in these national parks, I would have to say it has to have an alien abduction edge. And that these people are being abducted the for the purpose of experimentation. They may even be food to some alien races, and that this deal that the government made with them makes this possible. And one of the biggest things that makes me think that's the case is the fact that these missing cases are definitely being covered up by the government. They don't do much investigation. They write it off to predators or exposure or people falling down crevasses or into lava tubes or anything like that, caves. And they just don't spend a lot of time looking for these people. And when people ask questions, when they start to link cases, when they start to find these hot spots that the 411 missing documentary revealed to us, that what you end up with is the clear-cut case that the government don't want to talk about this. They don't want to spend any time on this. And that conspiracy points more than anything to alien abduction, because apparently our own government sold our people out and allows these aliens to abduct us and experiment on us so that we can have this technology that has become such a huge part of our lives. And don't get me started on railing against the technology. I think this thing that I'm using to talk to you might very well be the most evil invention in history. It definitely has made cheating so easy. Everybody's doing it. And it's so easy to deceive somebody through this electronic device. It's designed for secrecy and privacy, and it's spoiled a whole generation. We have a generation of people that think they know everything, but just because they have access to the internet, and therefore they think that's their own intelligence, and they get the pride and arrogance that goes with being super intelligent, when really they're a button pusher, and nobody remembers anything anymore, not even their own phone number. Sometimes that they rely on these things. It's become a crutch. So I do firmly believe that, apart from the 411 missing mystery, is that we got this technology from someplace. We got it. This fly really wants to be on TV. We got this technology from an advanced civilization. I've made this argument before that, how come now? Because humans have been working on a better mousetrap, so to speak, since the beginning of time. Yet, in my grandmother, who recently passed away's lifetime, she went from horse and buggy to the internet age in 105 years. In the last 105 years, we've seen a exponential growth in technological advancement that cannot be explained by human endeavor. And so, if I had to lay a bet, I would say that that's what these 411 missing persons are all about. They're all about these aliens enacting their right to kidnap human beings, and they do it out there in the wilderness to avoid detection, and to make it so that these people appear to have fallen down a crevasse or been eaten by a bear or something else. And so, yeah, that's my money. But let's talk about one more concept. You ever hear of a skinwalker? Don't. Skinwalkers are shapeshifters, and they kind of sound a lot like aliens, but they have been here from the beginning. They are part of Native American lore, and they're kind of the boogeyman of Native American, history and religion. A skinwalker is sometimes described as a witch. They can appear as a human being. They can change their appearance into a crow or a coyote or a mountain lion or whatever they desire to appear as. They're evil from their core. They prey upon humans for food and to drain them of their life force energy, to inflict fear, to torture and frighten people, and that they are essentially what we would consider a demon. The Mothman, which I recently did a video on, could very well fall into the category of skinwalker. They often appear as reptilian. They often appear as bat-like. They often appear, and many people think that's their natural state. They appear as a very, very creepy demon. And we've got lots of, could be faked video from trail cams. We got a lot of trail cams of some very weird looking pale white, almost bug looking creatures who seem to be roaming our wilderness. Are these hoaxes? Are these physical cameras picking up on a spiritual apparition? Are these demons? What are skinwalkers? That's worthy of its own coffee talk. But many people think that the 411 disappearances, the missing 411 people, are being victimized and predarized by a thing called a skinwalker, a demon in human flesh, a changeling, a shapeshifter, an object of absolute evil, and that it's mainly for the purpose of draining them of their life force. Some of them have vampire elements that are part of the mythology, and they come across as, bloodsuckers, chupacabras, that sort of thing, where their main concern is to drain you of your lifeblood. Maybe they're blood drinkers. There's always a torture and fear element. They seem to feed on negative energy, and I think that the skinwalker they're really demons. Are they aliens? Well, you know that I think angels and demons are aliens by nature, because what does alien mean but not from this earth? And therefore, we all know from the Bible that angels and demons are not from this plane of existence. They're not from this earth. They are here to do God's work as angels, or to inflict their own rebellious will on humanity if they are demons. And so I think, could it be these skinwalking demons? It could be. But my money's on alien abduction and experimentation. But it could be Bigfoot. It could be electromagnetic impulses that causes the mind to lose focus, and people basically expire in a state of near euphoric, almost seemingly drug-induced behavior, where they simply walk away from reality and embrace the thing that's going on in their mind. Tell me what you think. Do you think that these people that are disappearing in our national forest at an epidemic rate, do you think they're being kidnapped by Bigfoot? Do you think they're being made Bigfoot's love slave or adopted baby? Do you think that Bigfoot's capturing these people for food? Do you think it's electromagnetic impulses causing the mind to go south? Do you think it's skinwalkers? Do you think it's alien abductions? Or do you think it's something else? Leave your statements, questions, and theories in the comment section below. If you got anything from this video, if you enjoyed yourself, if you were entertained, understand I'm a one-man operation living off the donations I get from this channel. Most of the time we talk about Jesus here, but on Fridays we have a little bit of fun, engage in some coffee and some speculation. If you enjoy that and you want to see those videos keep coming, please leave a donation in the PayPal that's in the description. There's a link there. You can send me something to my P.O. box. Anything is good. I've got everything from $1 to a bag of peanuts to too much to mention. Like, I've got some really beautiful donations to my P.O. box in the past, and I thank you for supporting this channel, supporting me, supporting the ministry if you're part of the Sheep Pen ministry. And I encourage you that if you're here for the coffee talks, hang around for some of the stuff I say about Jesus, because it's also pretty darn mysterious and interesting. So leave your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this video with your friends, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm out of time, I'm out of a topic, and I'm out of coffee. So we will see you next time on Coffee Talk with flies, apparently. Go away, fly. Shoo, fly.